morning, I'm going to introduce my guest. Her name is Karwanna Dyson. She is a business growth strategist and a certified business coach who teaches women and minority business owners how to grow their businesses with government contracts so they can have consistent, sustainable income as small business. She is also the author of $1 Trillion Secret to Government Contracts, the 3-step BCP simple system small business owners are using for 10x their business revenues in 6 to 12 months, and 10 Habits of the Highly Successful Entrepreneur. With over 20 years of experience as a successful entrepreneur, she has been able to build a multiple 6-figure business selling her services to government agencies and is now teaching others how to do the same thing. Karwanna has been featured in We Think Loud Media, the SBA, SBDC, the Star Tribune Business, CBS, NBC, Hoodline, more, and now the Mogul Chix Chat podcast. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm really excited and I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for having me.
Yes, it's been a long time coming. I've been wanting to get you on and pick your brain about government contracting.
Absolutely, yes.
So those of you who are watching this replay, you can listen to the full audio down over on Pandora, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitch Fix, Anchor.com, Anchor.fm, all of those good places, or also on YouTube and Facebook. Yes. So let's dive right into it because I have a ton of questions. I know that one of the questions that keeps coming up is, should I get into government contracting? Because there's a lot of times where people say, hey, you know, this really, it's so much red tape. It's so much extra things I have to go through. I don't know if it's worthwhile, but listening to you, I was on one of your webinars. It can be very lucrative. So let's start off with, you know, can a business be too small to work with the government?
I mean, that's a really great question. And, you know, just to go back to, should I be doing or can I do business with the government? First, I want to say that, you know, when you think about doing business, especially as a small business, or when you first hear the concept doing business with the government, it sounds like such a big concept to grasp, and like it sounds almost impossible, or it makes you think or feel like you have to be like this really huge multi-million-dollar business already, right, in position to, you know, as a successful business already. But you can be a business that's barely making it and starting up and get involved. And so the government has these opportunities for you to build capacity and to grow your business. And is it worth it? Absolutely. I would say because they have large 5, 6, and even 7-figure contracts that are specifically set aside for small business owners and different businesses that are about that are in various socioeconomic disadvantaged groups, you can land multiple 5, 6, and 7-figure contracts in a short time and be working very part-time. And so if it's worth it, I mean, if it's worth it to you to be making multiple 6 figures on a very part-time, then yeah, definitely it's worth it. But like you said, I mean, there's a lot of red tape. It's not something that you just, you know, wake up one day and you're doing it. There's a process and there's a strategy and there's a system, and you have to understand that process. But anybody virtually who's interested in doing business with the government can do that.
Right, absolutely. Now, a side question, has COVID-19 impacted the ability for people to start going for these government contracts, or are the government contracts being put on hold?
And that's a really great question. So COVID-19 is the thing that, you know, it's here, right? And eventually we're going to get past that. So when it comes to the government, there's still opportunities right now. You can actually, there are a lot of people, small business owners that I'm working with now that are getting in position now. There's contracting opportunities where people are actually out there doing work now. And so a lot of times when businesses, like individual businesses, are shutting down due to pandemics, whether it's COVID or anything else in the future, you know, the government doesn't shut down. So there's still opportunities for you to jump in now and grow your business. And those who were in prior to COVID are still doing very well, because like I said, these are amazing, huge opportunities to do business with the government. And so aside, there's some things that has been, of course, affected by limitedly affected by, you know, by COVID, like such as anything that involves like events, right? Gatherings and stuff like that. But now you're able to gather in small groups as long as you have like these 6 feet apart measurements and things of that nature. But still, there's still catering going on. There's still media going on. There's still construction going on. There's still accounting and all this other stuff. And so definitely, how I work with my clients is I show them how to really expand beyond the one thing that you know that you do, right? There's a lot of different ways that you can position your business to get different types of contracting opportunities, and there's different things that you can do in your business to get opportunities. And so the perfect example that I'll show you as far as that, because I believe I answered the question about, does COVID stop people from being able to do business with the government? And the answer is no. The answer is no. But also I want to share that the reason why I say there's multiple ways that you can do business with the government. The perfect example for that is, let's just say there's a child care provider, right? Which are, there's limitations right now with child care provision, where people are still accepting kids, and there's they have their rules of how they're handling it in this time. But that child care provider, if we're thinking, tunnel vision, then we're thinking they just provide childcare. But when you think about childcare, a childcare provider who does business with the government, they do daycare, they do after school care, they feed the kids, and so that's nutrition. They help them with homework, so that's tutorial training. They're consulting with parents, so that's peer-to-peer counseling. And so there's multiple streams of income when it comes to the government. And so taking that, and thinking about, well, I do X, Y, and Z. Now, how can I pivot, with the government? Well, what are all the different services that you actually provide in your business? And that's what you have to think about. And some of those things may not involve, personal contact, right? But it involves some additional services. And so that's why those are the things that will get you through these moments.
Wow, that I didn't even think about all of that. With childcare, you think, okay, well, just taking care of children, but there's so many offshoots of it. So yeah, that's perfect. Is there basically a size limit, or is that in people's minds? Like, some people feel, well, I think I'm too small, or I think that, I have to partner with someone else. So is it such a thing as being too small for a government contract, or is it, and this follow-up question to that is, would it be better to partner or subcontract with someone?
Okay. So to answer the first question, can you be too small? No, absolutely not. You could be a sole proprietor and start doing business with the government. Like my first business, it was a sole proprietorship, and that is the business that I started doing business with the government. And I was probably individually only making for myself, like chasing individual customers, barely making $20,000 a year. And so that's a very micro small business, struggling small business. And so my first contract from that position and from that perspective was a $70,000 contract, and it was for 28 days of work. And so that was bigger than anything that I had seen. And so definitely, as a small business, you can't be too small, right, to participate. You really can't be too large to participate with the government as well. However, if you're participating in like contracts that are set aside specifically for small businesses, there's a threshold. And the SBA has a size standard tool where you can actually go in and put in what has been your average revenues over the past 3 years. And normally it's under like a few hundred millions, right? Or a few millions, right? And so normally under that number, then you can actually do business with the government. So I believe I looked up like marketing, for example. I looked up what is the size standard for marketing, and I think it was like 16 million. So you can make up to 16 million and participate in government contracting with set aside as a small business, in marketing. So, and that's just one particular scope of work and one example. So you can't be too small. You can't be too big unless you're wanting to participate as a small business in the set-aside programs. And so now, what was the other question? I think you had.
Better to partner or subcontract, because a lot of people are fearful that, well, if let's say I squeak by and I just, get this big contract, this lucrative contract, is it better to try to handle it on own, or would they get a faster approval? I guess that's the question.
Okay.
If they decided to subcontract or partner with someone else.
Okay, so that's a really good question. So the answer to that is there's no right or wrong way, right? There's no better or worse way to do business, but you have to understand your ability to deliver on a project, right? So there's 3 different ways that you can actually get contracts with a government. You can do it as a prime contractor, you can do it as a subcontractor, or you can do it as a joint venture, like a partnership, right? So those are the 3 ways that you in particular can do business with the government. And so you would have to really ask yourself, can I handle this contract first of all, right? Can I do this on my own? And if it's something that you can absolutely do on your own, you feel like you can deliver on time and you have the capacity to handle that work, then you do it as a prime. Right. And if it's something that you feel like, well, you're not ready to handle that full scope of work, or whatever, then you can either decide, well, maybe you can come in under a prime and do it as a sub. Or if you feel like you can manage this project, but you don't want to do the work, then maybe you can sub a piece of that work out. And so really it's just an executive decision that you will have to make. And then the benefits of joint venturing and partnering is going after larger projects, right? And it's just on some projects, there's requirements for you to utilize women-owned businesses, minority-owned businesses, small businesses, disadvantaged businesses. And so every project has a goal, right? And so if you alone doesn't, meet that goal, then you want to partner with other people to strengthen, first of all, to meet the goal. But also, if you don't have all the qualifications and the capacity to do this large project, then that's where the partnership comes in, because you want to partner with other people. So together you have the capacity, you meet the minimum qualifications, you're meeting the goals, and it just strengthens your ability to go after a contract, and it shows that you're more qualified.
Okay. Well, yeah. That's a lot. I like that. So the short answer is you can.
Yeah.
And yes, you can. So
yeah.
Good. That was a good breakdown. Now, tell me, I know some people that will say, I'll do state contracts, but I'm not messing with federal contracts. It's too much. Or someone say, I want the federal contracts because they pay bigger money than the municipal. Is there really a clear distinction between the municipal and state and the federal as far as process and as far as dollar amount?
I would say yes and no. It just depends on the services that you provide, whether it's products or services. It just depends on the opportunities, because every opportunity is going to be different, depending on what it is, the scope of work that they're asking for, what they're seeking. I would say on the federal level, it's just a little bit more daunting because of the paperwork, right? It's just a little bit more daunting even getting started on the federal level, because there's a lot of security measures, there's a lot of red flags, red tape. And so people are easily discouraged. But once you get through that part, then you'll find that it's the same, right? It's the same, right? You find an opportunity, you bid on it. If you win it, then you deliver, right? You just have to know that you're delivering a quality service, and that whether you're doing it on a local, state, or federal level, you just have to know your abilities to deliver on that project. And so and then be ready to do the paperwork, because there's paperwork on all levels, right? You have to do the paperwork, because we're talking about having the ability to really build a multi-billion-dollar business. And even if you're just getting started, you have the ability to build a multiple 6-figure business, right? Just getting started. And that's if you decide, hey, I just want to do this less than part-time, and I'm really not trying to jump into billions, right? And you have that option to decide what you want to do. And so, but there's paperwork that has to be, you still have to do the paperwork. And so you have to decide, well, do I want to be mediocre with myself and with my business, or do I want to get serious? So you're playing with a big major player in the game. And so you have to be ready to boss up, to become a CEO, to be ready to have your stuff in order, and get your paperwork in order. And so a lot of times when I work with my clients, that's the first thing, the mindset is everything, right? So I work with them on mindset. I'm saying, I let them know, this is not going to be easy. Once you get started, you'll build momentum and you'll really be able to take off and grow your business. But in the beginning, I want you to be ready and prepared that the paperwork is going to be discouraging, but you have to get through to it. Because I have people that are landing contracts in their 5th week of working with me. I have people that are landing their first multi-million-dollar contract. I haven't even landed $1 million contract, but it's out there for anybody, right? And so when you think about those volumes, like that amount of opportunity, you have to know that it comes with paperwork and it comes with commitment, and it's not just for anybody. It's for people who's ready to put in the work and work hard, right, to take their business to the next level.
Absolutely. That's all next level stuff. I love talking about next level. So I was going to take a pause and talk about your book, but I think it's more important for you to talk about your program.
Yes.
If you guys have not checked out, she does a webinar that kind of gives you an overview of government contracting and a peek into her accelerator. Absolutely. And I think that you guys could benefit from this. And later on, we're going to talk about a project that her and I are working on together with Mogul Chix Academy. But right now, tell the audience a little bit about this program. Tell them what they expect, how long is it, and how much, and who is fit for this program.
Okay, so that's a really great question. I'm really happy to share that information. But let me start with why. Let me start with why I designed this program, because like I mentioned a little bit earlier, when I was really starting off as a small business, didn't know anything about business, bootstrapping from the bottom and trying to figure out how I'm going to sustain my family, I knew I needed a solution. And so government contracts, when I first landed my first contract, I saw how real this was for me, right? And when that happened, I repeated the steps, right? I repeated the steps and continued to land similar contracts. And then they got bigger and then they got bigger. Then I started landing them simultaneously. I'm like, wow, why don't more of us, right? Because when I'm in the field, I don't see people that look like me, not a lot. It's very rare. And so I'm like, why don't we know? This is the biggest kept secret, right? From minorities and from women in business. And so if all small businesses open their eyes and really took a look at this, you wouldn't be struggling. You wouldn't have to chase customers. You wouldn't be, turning in circles or closing your doors and stuff. And so this is a real serious thing. And so I designed this program because I wanted to empower minority people, especially women and minority, because I'm all about women's empowerment, right? But also I want to teach our people how to build wealth, how you can take your business and leverage it as a vehicle to really build wealth. And government contracting is a part of that. Business credit is another part of that. Understanding who your client is a part of that. And so you really have to be ready to go, right? Ready to build a legacy. You got to be ready. And so the program is called the $1 Trillion Government Contracts Accelerator. I specifically called it that because first I discovered that this is a multi-trillion-dollar industry. The government is spending multiple trillions of dollars. And that's why I wrote my first ebook called The $1 Trillion Secret to Government Contracting, is because they're spending trillions of dollars and they're spending it with small businesses primarily, right? And with women and minorities and all this stuff. And they're saying, hey, here's the money. Where are you, right? They're looking for you. And a lot of times these funds go unclaimed because there's not enough businesses that's small and that's registered
because you don't know about it.
Yeah, exactly, because you don't know about it. So that's why I designed this program. So the $1 Trillion Government Contracts Accelerator is a 6-week program where it's a boot camp, basically. I work with you step by step, right? So I take everything that I learned in the 20 years that I've been doing business, the 8 years that I've been doing government contracting, I take it step by step. And I broke it into it's an accelerated learning program where it's not going to take you 3 to 5 years to learn how to do it the correct way. You don't have to bump your head and fail, right? I can show you exactly what I did and how I did it to succeed, right? And so we take it baby steps. We start with the foundation. These are the documents that you need to have, right? To qualify, right? You have to boss up and know where your EIN is and know where your articles of incorporation. You got to know where your taxes are. You have to know. Some people don't know that stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's the foundation. And then we work on, this is what you need to do to qualify. Now let's get registered, right? And so we go step by step. At the end of the 6 weeks, the goal is for you to not only be an official certified government contractor, but you have a complete successful blueprint to how to bid, where to bid, why you're bidding, how to respond to contracting opportunities, who you're doing business with, how to market yourself to free to the government, all of those things, how to bid as a prime, how to bid as a sub, like all of those things you understand, even the language, because there's a lot of language and lingo in the government world, right? And if you don't understand, you'll be like immersion, like going to China and everybody speaking Chinese, you're like, what the heck are they saying, right? And so you learn the lingo. And so that's why the program is designed to help you really get started effectively. I'm also creating an app, you know, and so that's still in the making, but I have an app under development to help people get pre-qualified and ready to go. And it just kind of speeds up the process. And so definitely, the $1 trillion government contracts accelerator is an amazing program. If you are a small business, if you've been in business, I would say at least a year. If you've been in business at least a year and you have at least your business license and the EIN, then we can work from there. I can help you get positioned. And so those are the people who qualify. And so if you're a woman and you have a business, if you're a minority and you have a business, if you're a disadvantaged business owner, or if you are disabled, service disabled veteran who has a business, or any of those socioeconomic groups, I can really help you, you know, get in position to win. And we're talking like really growing multiple six figures in a 6 to 12 month period. And that's something that's absolutely possible. Some people are making millions like in their first few months, like seriously. But you know, but I still want to set the expectation to what you can do, like what's more realistic for you. If you're just getting started, what can you do in the next, you know, 6 to 12 months? And this is what you can do. You can land multiple six figures in the next 6 to 12 months. And so that, to get started with that, there is a training at qualifyforgovernmentcontracts.com. So if you go to qualifyforgovernmentcontracts.com, there's a short 17-minute video that shows you exactly how to get started, or how this works, right? How government contracts could help you, and shows you the difference between business to customer, like B2C, B to consumer, B2C, versus business to government. And you can still have both. I'm not saying stop one and do the other, but you're just adding an additional customer, right? An additional stream of income. And so on that website, you'll also receive a free checklist, right? A total complete free checklist that shows you exactly what you need to have to get started, to pre-qualify. And you'll also receive a free companion ebook that tells you everything about government contracts that you need to know. And then you'll have the opportunity to book a free strategy call with my team to get started on how we can work together in this program to help you be ready in 6 weeks.
Right now, that's what I'm talking about. That's what we need. And let me just clarify to my listeners, because I have very intelligent, sophisticated listeners, but I do get a couple of people that just trickle in. So you have to have your tax ID number already, and you have to be legally set up as a business already. That means if you're a sole proprietor, partnership, if you can do LLC, corporation, whatever it is, as long as you have that only enhances your chances of getting through the process. So yeah, make sure you have all your ducks in a row. And if you don't, she'll help you do it. So that segues into a really good question that I had about certification, because I honestly, admittedly, I never did certification because number one, well, when I started a business, it was like early 90s, and I was going through this thing where it's like, first of all, I want to get by on my merits. I want to get by not because I'm a woman. I want to make sure, you know, the whole ego tripping thing. But I've come to see the value in getting certified. So does being minority woman, small business certified, veteran certified, does that really make a difference? It does.
No, it absolutely does make a difference, because for one, a percentage of all contracting opportunities, and we're talking about trillions of dollars that's being spent, you know, $1 million contracts, $1 billion contracts, you know, 6-figure contracts, like all of a percentage has to go to those socioeconomic disadvantaged groups, right? So a certain percentage of $1 billion, like what is a percentage, like a certain percentage of $1 billion contract has to go to you as a woman, right? But you can't just be like, oh, I'm a woman in business. You have to officially certify your business as a woman-owned business in order to partake in that. And so, yeah, it's absolutely beneficial to actually step up and say, hey, I'm officially a woman in business, and that's who I am. And so not only does the government recognize you, you know, with that certification, but like prime contractors who have to use you, they know that you exist because now you're registered, and that's when they start to reach out to you. And so there's multiple ways that, you know, once you get started with government contracting, there's multiple ways that you'll be able to access contracting opportunities. For one, once you get registered or certified under those socioeconomic groups, you're in a database, right? So you can proactively look for opportunities, but also because you're in those databases, not only do agencies reach out to you and say, hey, do you want this contract, or can you submit a quote for this contract or whatever, but also prime contractors who are looking for subs or who are looking for people to partner with to help them meet their goals of having women-owned businesses or minority-owned businesses. They also reach out to you. And so it's very beneficial, right? So it's definitely worth the paperwork and the time that it takes to get in position, but absolutely it will help you.
Okay. And you can be a brand new business with no revenue yet and still get certified.
Yep, you can be a brand new business now. Now there's 3 levels of government. So there's the local government, there's the state government, there's the federal government. So on the local level, sometimes they require that you have either 6 months in business or 12 months in business, depending on the city, right? In order to certify as a local business and go after that. But you can still get certified like with the federal if you're brand new, or with the state if you're brand new, and never generated a single dollar. But like, so every level of government is going to be a little bit different as far as what they require. But like the local city, normally there's like a limit, because they don't want businesses coming into their city and saying, hey, I'm a local business, let me go after those local business dollars. So it's like you have to be vested. You have to have a certain amount of time in that city as a local business in order to go after those set aside contracts for local business owners.
Okay, great. So final question, and you and I have had this conversation. You see there are a lot of advertisements out there. Sign up, pay this money, pay us monthly and buy a list, and we can tell you where all the government contracts are. Is it wise to subscribe to any of those? I'm not going to mention any names because I don't want to,
Right.
Is it wise for people to do that so they can get easy access? Or is there such a thing as easy access?
Well, wait, easy access? Like, what do you mean?
Well, these companies are saying that we have a database. We collect all of the government contracts.
Oh, okay. Okay, I know what you're talking about. Okay, yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. Okay, so I would say that because when I first got started, I made the mistake of investing. I think I've invested like 3,000 or 4,000 into that, right? Into that as well, and it didn't bring me a single penny. And so really, all the information that they curate for you, you can get yourself, right? It's free information. All they're doing is going to different sites and pulling in the information for your convenience, but it doesn't get you to the funds. They don't teach you the strategy, right? All you're buying into is the information, which the information is public and is open, and you can get that yourself if you put in the time. So it's up to you. So it really is a decision. Do I want to give this money out so they can do the research and give me information that I can find for free myself, right? And so if you're going to invest in yourself, I would say invest in something that's going to bring you a return on your investment, which is going to be strategy. It's going to be information to help you get the money. It's going to be information on how to bid on those contracts. And so those are the programs that bring you return on your investment. That's just me. That's just my own recommendation. And the things that I look for, because, as a coach, I also look for coaches as well to help me take my business even to the next level. And so when I make the decisions of who I'm going to invest in or what programs I'm going to invest in or whatever, it's based off like what is the return on investment and what am I learning how to do, whatever. And is that going to help me?
Yeah. Oh my God, this has been so informative. And I have like a billion other questions, but we're going to leave that for when people go to the clinics or your accelerator and let them go ahead and do the work to get that government contracting dollars. But talk a little bit about your book really quickly.
Okay. So I did mention that my first book, the $1 Trillion Government Contracts, was the first ebook that I created. So my book currently is called the Business Certifications Proposal, right? So I have a book. So I have 2 that I'm working on simultaneously, but the one that I'm talking about here is Business Certification Proposals. It's the exact 3-step system that my small business clients are using to 10x their business in revenues in like 6 to 12 months. So it tells you everything about certifications. It's talking about your foundation, your business foundation, the certifications, and then a proposal. So that's what BCP stands for. So it's a 3-step system that I designed to help people move along in the process. And so I dropped a link here, so maybe you can share that. But there's a whole link where you can actually get the book. But also, I'm working on a book called The 10 Habits of the Highly Successful Entrepreneur, because there's some things that you need to, mindset wise and business wise, prepare, right? Some habits, some things that you can put in place to help you succeed. Because once you get into the game of government contracting, we're talking about taking your small business and really having the ability to build an empire. And so everything changes. The structure, the way you do business, like everything is going to change. And so you will really see growth. You will really see your need to have an accountant, your need to have like people helping you putting your SOPs, like systems and processes and all that stuff. That then you'll be like, wow, I'm really evolving as a business. And so that's some next level stuff. And so that's what the 10 habits of the highly successful entrepreneur is still in production. But definitely if you go to check out the BCP book, business proposal certifications, that book will have everything step by step of what you need to do to get started with government contracting. And it works in companionship with my program, The $1 Trillion Secret. We just dive deeper and we're doing it live and we're doing it together. And so, an investment into my program, which I want to share with you all. Now, easily, if you know that you can at least make six figures, on your first contract, at least minimum 70,000, because I can show you exactly how I did the 70,000. So let's just say at least 70,000, right? So wouldn't you think it would be worth at least 10% of that, right? If you know you're going to be making money. And so my program is designed as a program to help small business owners. So it is priced at a business a small business level where small business owners could get involved. And so it's priced at $7,000. However, I am currently running a special for $49.97. So you can actually enroll in a program for $49.97, either a one-time payment or we have financing options. So we have different payment options. We have partners where you can actually apply for credit to pay it off. And so there's ways, right? And so that's pretty much it. Like, I'm really excited, to share this opportunity with your network. Thank you for having me on to Mogul Chix. And there's a lot, that we cover in the program. And so like when we're talking about taking your vehicle and your business as a vehicle and building it for wealth, a lot of bonus things goes into the program. We talk about business credit, I'll show you how to do that and give you the steps. Right? We talk about not only government contracting, but we talk about corporate contracts, because there's a lot of contracts out there on the corporation side, and I'll show you that process as well. And so we cover a lot in the program. It's not just like it's not one of those programs where you pay and then you don't get nothing out of it. No, we're gonna work. And even for the people who are a little relaxed and they're like, I'll do this in my own time, I'm knocking on your door like, hey.
Really, right.
Yeah, because you're not gonna say you paid to get in my program, you didn't learn nothing. No, did you do what you were supposed to do?
Exactly. I go to the same
yeah,
past master. It's so
yeah.
funny. There's a running joke whenever, like, we have a private group, and whenever the day of the class of the accelerated class,
yeah.
Little comments. Oh Lord, let's get our battle shield ready because Adrian's gonna come with it in this class today.
Yeah, no, it's called accountability. You have to have accountability, and you have to be willing to put in the work, and you have to, do the work and not give up. And so if you don't give up, at the end of the rainbow, there's this pot of gold, and that's real.
Absolutely. And plus, we're trying to build companies. I tell people all the time, there's a distinct difference between having a business and running a company. And there's a lot of us out there that have a lot of businesses, but not many of us have companies. And we need to be, I don't have to go through the spiel, we got to be better. So, it's something we do. So what I want the listeners to know about, you guys, we have been talking about doing clinics and bringing on professionals, and Karwanna happens to be one of our newest facilitators that's coming on. She is going to be doing a version of her accelerator specifically for Mogul Chix Academy through the clinics. And she's also going to be providing office hours. So that she'll put her schedule out there. Be patient. We will have everyone scheduled together, but you can also come through Mogul Chix. If you don't want to take the clinic, you could go to her accelerator or vice versa. But we're trying to make sure that you guys have everything you need to learn how to do government contracting and answer those questions that you might have. Now, please understand, office hours does not mean she's going to give you a full-blown consultation. That is not what that is. She is
Right.
there to answer questions about government contracting for you, not give you a blueprint. You got to pay for that. Okay. So, by
Right.
going to her accelerator class.
Yeah.
But I am really looking forward to having her come on board and with all of the other clinic facilitators. And we're going to bring a Mogul Chix experience like nobody's doing across. And I don't like to say that because, you know, we have a certain someone in office that likes to say, like, no one has ever done before. No, no one has ever done it like this before for women of color. And the scope and the depth that we're going into, because we want to help you build companies. That's what we do. That's what we want to do. We want you to succeed. So with that said, I want you to tell the audience how they can reach you, what your website address, and any social media you want to share with them.
Yeah, so yeah, you can definitely get in contact with me by visiting qualifyforgovernmentcontracts.com. You can actually schedule a free strategy session with my team, and from there they can, you know, we can decide if we need to hop on the phone with you directly. And so I'm also on Facebook at Karwanna Dyson, is KarwannaDyson, YouTube at Karwanna D, and I have a podcast called KarwannaD.buzzsprout.com. And so you can check me out on any of those platforms, which I'm pretty sure that Adrienne is going to post, you know, share links and everything like that. But, you know, I share a lot of value. I share a lot of free information. I have a lot of free trainings on all my platforms. So make sure you just, you know, follow me, check me out. And if this is something that you believe that has been enlightening for you, and that you're ready to take your business to the next level, you know, let's work together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And please, guys, remember, you can get free stuff all over the web, but when you want execution, when you want strategy, when you want to learn how to implement, you have to invest in that. And I firmly believe, and you guys know, I don't support people, like I don't just put people out that I don't believe in, but I actually believe in her program, and I know that you will get a ton of value from it. So please make sure you check it out and make sure you contact her. Don't inundate her with a bunch of nonsense, but just talk to her, ask her some questions, and she's very, very, you know, open to talking with you. So with that said, thank you so much for coming on and taking time to talk about government contracting. I know there's still people that probably have a lot of questions. So if you're listening to the replay of this podcast, you can look down below at the links. All of her links are in there. If you want to drop her a line, her schedule is available on Mogul Chix Academy. There's so many ways you can, so you can't use the excuse you couldn't get in touch with her. There are multiple ways to get in touch with her.
Absolutely.
So, with that said, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I look forward to collaborating with you.
All right, same here.